and it takes a little bit. And there's like a 30-second lag, so don't worry if you don't hear answers right away. Everybody is joining in. I'm going to go on my phone and watch it from there. Muted here. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Jennifer Declare, the bar exam mentor, here with Jessica Klein. Now, listen. If you have not been introduced to Jessica yet, you are in for a treat. Attorney, bar exam tutor, published author. She's doing all the things for you guys right here today. She's going to give you a sneak peek into the expert knowledge and wisdom that she brings to bear on her clients' journey so that they can jump dozens and dozens of points on their bar score to finally pass. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Jessica Klein. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so happy that you are here. Now, some of you are already going to be wondering how to get in touch or find Jessica off of this group and out of here. Can you just throw the name of your own Facebook group out there so everybody can know where to go to?
Yeah, they can join. It's called the Bar Exam Pass List. That's the name of
Nice.
the Facebook group.
Awesome. Great. So thank you so much for being here with us. And I mean, let's just dive right in on why everybody needs to listen in today, right? So I typed up a short blurb that let everybody know that you're going to really dive into like the essay portions and your methods for succeeding on the bar exam. But give us a candid, picture of what problem you see happening in the bar exam world that
Mhm.
that you've come to fix.
Yeah, so I have found that traditional bar prep methods generally are all the same, and they do a couple things inefficiently, is what I'll
Mhm.
say. They have a lot of students do things that end up being time wasters and don't actually help students prepare adequately for the exam. I see the bar exam as a performance where you're essentially performing for the bar graders and showing them, demonstrating your ability to be let out into the public to with your bar card and to do that safely. So if you think of like getting your license to drive, it's more like that. Like you are literally going to walk away with a license in your wallet, and they want to know that you're safe, right? There's a gatekeeping activity, a gatekeeping function. And so just like with driving a car, if you never sit behind the wheel to drive the car in practice, you are never going to pass the on-road test. Like it's just never going to happen. And so with the bar exam, very few people get behind the wheel, so to speak, and actually practice taking the bar exam and practice those bar exam skills so that they can show the graders on exam day that they're really good at performing those skills. Usually people stick in the books, they watch a lot of outlines, they watch a lot of lectures, they read a lot of outlines, and that actually just incrementally, if it all, helps your chances of passing on the bar. So I actually don't believe in outlines or lectures at all. I don't use them with my students and I have great results.
Oh wow. Well, you're gonna have to tell us a little bit more about that, huh?
Yeah. So what happens is to pass a bar exam in almost every jurisdiction, there's three parts that you have to perform, right? You have the essays or MEE, you have the MBEs or the multiple choice questions, and then you have the performance test or MPT. And so really the only way you get points on the bar exam is being able to do well on each of those sections. So it makes sense to me that if you want to be good at doing those things, you should practice doing those things, because the more times you practice, just like getting on a bike and learning how to ride two wheels or learning how to tie your shoe or learning how to play an instrument or play a sport, you have to be doing them in order to get good at doing them. And then you're ready, like when it comes time for game day or when it comes time for your recital. But to do those things is actually a better use of your time. And so that's what I have people do is I have them practice, practice, practice.
Mhm. Yeah. So what happens if they like what problems have you seen happening if they stick to the old way of doing things?
There's a lot of things. One is there's this sense of overwhelm, right? Because there's so much. You get like stacks of books, hours and hours of lectures, and all of that's very passive activity. It's the academic model that you go through generally, through college and law school and whatnot. But it's very passive. You're sitting there letting somebody tell you what they know instead of testing what you actually know. Because on exam day, you have to know it. And so if you do that, a lot of it gets lost. And a lot of it's wasted time because people get overwhelmed because there's so much. And they have this false sense of busyness, or the busyness gives them a false sense of preparation, because there's a difference between being busy and being productive, a huge difference. And so what will happen is people will be doing all of that. And then it comes time to like taking an essay, and they're like, oh, well, I can't take an essay yet. Like, I'm not ready. I don't know it enough. I don't have it memorized. I don't know the law well enough, is what they think. But there's actually a really big distinction between knowing the law and knowing the law. So usually when people say, I can't take an essay because I don't know the law yet, what they mean is I don't have it memorized. I can't spit it out verbatim on the paper. It's not this, I don't understand the law, or I don't understand the concepts that are being taught. Now, if you truly don't understand the concepts, you get out of law school and you don't understand like what negligence is, then perhaps a lecture would be helpful. But that's not what people are talking about. They're talking about not knowing how to put it in an essay answer. And the only way you can get good at that is by going through the struggle of making yourself do it. Because once you try, you figure out, you know what, I actually knew that. I actually remembered all the elements, and I was able to pull in the facts and weave them in with an analysis, versus, oh shoot, I understand the concept, but I can't articulate it in a way that's going to get me a passing grade on an essay. So those are different skills.
They are. And it looks like when it comes to that struggle, you actually have a method to ease that and not let it be such of a struggle. What is it?
So when I first graduated law school, so I went to law school in San Diego, and I took the California bar exam, and I self-studied. And as I did it, I created my own approach to studying based on what sense to me and I learned. And part of that was I dreaded doing essays like anybody else. I didn't want to do them. I didn't want to sit down and do them. I was lazy. I was like, what's another way to learn this besides doing it?
I hated essays too.
I hated it. And I remembered, I pulled in a few things from my past and my knowledge. And I remembered when I was in art class in high school, because I loved art, I almost went that direction. I remembered learning that artists would train, they would copy the masters, and they would essentially try to recreate the masterpieces that the masters created by imitating brushstrokes and color usage and composition and all of these things. And so I thought, why don't I just look at what the bar graders want to see? Because they provide them. They give you the answer key. They tell you, this is exactly what we want a torts essay answer to look like. This is what we want the contracts to look like. And so I thought, well, the best way for me to learn to give them what they want is to start flooding myself with those examples. So what I did was I copied them word for word. So I would read an essay, I would copy word for word the model answer, and I did that for a while. And then what I ended up doing was I created 4 distinct stages. So when I was doing that first practice, which I call stage 1, it helped me understand what they were looking for. I saw the law that they wanted to be included. I saw organization and structure and how to do an analysis and what facts to use. And all these things were being really evident to me, because I'm like, wow, look at that. It's the same as the last essay, but a couple of the facts are changed. And there's all these similarities. But that wasn't the same as me being able to write it. So what I had to do was I had to add more stages to get me to the point where I was writing essays like that. So then I did stage 2, which was you read an essay question, then you copy the model answer, and then I would close it out. I would just erase it, or get rid of it. And then I would try to recreate that answer, because I just saw what it's supposed to look like. And that was a shocker, Jennifer, because you think, well, I know exactly what to write because I just read it. I just typed it out. Yes. But making yourself create it is so much different. And that's where you really learn this is truly a skill. So you can hear somebody tell you in a lecture, you can read an outline what you're supposed to write, but it's different than you being able to do it. So that was stage 2. And then with stage 3, all I did was flip-flop the process. So I would read the question, I would write my own answer before I saw what the model was supposed to look like. And this was another level of challenge, because now I had to be able to issue spot it. I had to be able to anticipate what the model should look like without having get a sneak peek at the answer. And then I would copy the model answer so that I would have that recency effect of making sure that I didn't walk away from that essay with a wrong idea of what I was supposed to talk about, what issues were there, what the rules of law were. I made sure that I finished correctly. And
Okay.
then the fourth stage was like training wheels off, right? So I just would do essays over and over and over again. So I would read an essay question, I would write the answer, and then I would just kind of like spot the model to make sure that I didn't do something crazy. But
Mhm.
by that time, I didn't, because I knew exactly what to write. I found that I had trained my brain so that when I was reading an essay question, I started pre-writing my answer because I knew what the model would look like. I'm like, I bet the model is going to do this and that and that, and they're going to use these facts this way. And lo and behold, they did. And I knew that I had trained my brain. And then I could just give the bar graders the answers they wanted to see anytime, on any of the questions that might show up on my exam.
Wow. Wow. That
Yeah.
sounds like an intricate process, but you laid it all out and called it what, the Klein method?
Yeah, it's called the Klein method, and it's one of multiple strategies I use, because obviously the essays is one part of the bar exam.
Right, right.
So yeah.
How long does the this essay training of your brain, like how long would you say that takes to like build that skill?
So in my book, I talk about kind of an example plan of doing 80 study blocks. So study blocks are another thing that I have, another strategy that I use, and I'll just explain it really quickly so this makes sense.
Mhm.
I believe in sitting down and training your brain to focus for the amount of time you're going to need to, because on exam day, if you've never taken a bar exam before, you're going to find that you're mentally exhausted. It is really a lot of work, and we are so trained in today's day and age to get all of these micro breaks for our brain, interruptions like notifications and buzzing and this and that. We really have lost the ability to sit uninterrupted. And so part of training your brain is getting it used to being able to focus for long periods of time. So I came up with a study block, which is 4 hours together, where you just do one 4 hour block and you don't get interrupted and you don't check your phone and you don't get on your email. So my program in my book talks about doing 80 of those, 80 study blocks in order to be ready for the bar exam. And so essentially you'll be doing stage one for the first quarter, stage two for the second quarter, stage three for the third quarter, and then stage four for the last 20-ish. Yeah, so it's pretty evenly split.
Okay, that makes sense. So, what are some of the benefits that you've seen when people implemented the Klein method, for example, in their essay portion?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of point jumps, and it's people who fail the bar exam multiple times. All of a sudden, if you give them a better tool to use,
Yeah.
they can succeed. And this is one of the most meaningful and impactful parts of what I do, because when somebody fails a bar exam, it's it's identity shaking for almost everybody.
Okay.
Because what happens is you take somebody who's smart, ambitious, a hard worker, because you wouldn't graduate law school if you weren't those things.
Right.
And probably in most cases, somebody who's never failed a thing in their life, not academically. And so then you have somebody who's always been successful. This has always been where they're good at. Like this is what they kind of self-identify as being one of their strengths. And it's the most important test of their life. It's the most public test of their life. And to fail that causes people to believe that there's something inherently wrong with them, or that they don't measure up. And it's
Mhm.
heartbreaking. And it makes me so angry, because I'm angry at the industry, because the industry has set them up for failure. Because spending time in lectures and outlines doesn't get you ready. And so they think I put in all the, it's worse if you put in a lot of effort. If you think like, oh, you kind of like half-assed it. Sorry if I'm not supposed to say that. Then you think, well, it's not really a reflection of me, because I know that I didn't give my all. But if you give your all and you fail, it's really painful, and it's really hard to come back from that. So to see somebody who's failed like 6 times, they use a better strategy, and then they pass and they have a huge point jump.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, because then they realize there was nothing wrong with me the whole time. This just wasn't a good strategy. This what didn't work. It wasn't effective, the things I was doing. And
Yeah.
so that's really exciting for me and really satisfying.
Yeah. So not only do they get those point jumps, but they get their confidence back because they realize it was just a matter of I needed the right strategy.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
cool.
And some people are about to walk away from the law, like just give it up. And so it gets me a little bit choked up if I think I'm just gonna not think about it too deeply, but it's really powerful, because people who go to law school, when I ask them, what is it you want to do with your law degree? I have yet to hear somebody say, I just want to make a ton of money in big law. Like they're doing things because they're been touched by the law, right? Like their family member was wrongfully convicted, or, they came to the country into the country as an illegal alien and they want to help with immigration, or there's all these different things, or they really believe in, helping battered women, or, taking care of like animals who can't speak for themselves. And there's all these really noble reasons. And we need these practitioners in our courts. We need them with their bar cards. And especially like, people who haven't traditionally been in this field. We need more people of color, more minorities. We need people who represent our nation.
Yeah.
And so to think that these people are being stopped from a test just because they don't have the right tools is so frustrating. And there is a better way, and they're not broken, and they can do it. So that gets me fired up.
Yeah, it sure does. Those of you listening in, this is an area where Jessica and I touch and agree so deeply, is we need you, heart-centered, courageous, future lawyers out there, changing the face of the profession and the world that we're in. And yeah, it does seem oftentimes that this exam kind of screens out the people we need the most. So yeah, this is definitely a mission, right, that we're on to help get you guys out there, past this bar exam hurdle and out there to do your good work. So good. Yeah. So the Klein method isn't just for repeat bar takers, is it?
No, it's not. And I do work a lot with repeaters. I think just because I don't rank very high on Google. And so like the big name companies pretty much get most people on the first attempt. And so it's like when that doesn't work, then they're like, all right, what's back there on page 9 of Google? So I do have a lot of repeat takers, but it's honestly, if it works for a repeater, it works just as well for a first time taker. The thing is, it's like preparing for the test, right? You're not here to learn the law. You learn that in law school. You're here to learn the test and to learn the test skills and to prepare for those and to take what you learned in law school and give it to the bar graders the way they want to see it on the test, so that they can, because really what you give to them, like through your performance test or the work product in your essays, that is your reflection of yourself to them. And you have to show up the way they want to see it, so that they know, okay, this person is the type of person that we feel confident bringing into the profession, that's going to represent the public safely and whatnot. And so you can be brilliant. And oftentimes people who fail are brilliant and they would be fantastic lawyers, but they're just not reflecting that the way the bar graders want to see it. So just learn the ropes, learn what they want to do. And that's why I think the Klein method works so powerfully, is because forget what you would write. We don't care about what you would write, like no offense, but we care what the bar graders want to see. So you can have great ideas, but you have to give them what they want to see in order to get those points that you need.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of my arguing days, where it's like, just check the box. Okay, just check the box, give them what they want and move on.
Yeah.
Forget your beliefs for a minute, get to where you're going.
Yeah. And don't let it mean anything about yourself or your value or your abilities. It's really just about understanding the test and learning it well enough. And I've also come to understand and believe that there are some people who won't necessarily get it on the first pass, not because they're not on the right track, but it just takes longer. There's nothing wrong with it. In no other area like of life do we think, oh, well, they didn't walk until they were like 15 months old, I guess like they're never going to be a walker. No, like, so maybe it takes a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. They have the ability and they're growing. So if you failed once, that doesn't mean that you're not getting closer to the goal. You should definitely keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely. That's so awesome. Good. What if they are so disheartened after failing, that they can't seem to get back on the horse?
I would send them to you.
Because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll shift it back over.
There's different things. And it's hard. I'm sure you believe this too, Jennifer. Like, I can't just say this is what you should do, because it depends on each person. And there's so many unique circumstances that go into it. I know for me, not one of my students is like any other of my students. And I have to take into consideration their background, their history, what's going on in their life, the circumstances that they have as they're trying to prepare. And it's the same thing. If you fail, if you're like, no big deal, I'm at it again, and you don't have any mental blocks around it, or it doesn't it's not upsetting to you, cool, you're probably ready. If you're like failed by 2 points and you have a lot of bitterness and anger to work through, and you're not ready to study because you're just so upset, then you're going to have to work through that
Mhm.
in a way that's going to clear it and not just suppress it.
Exactly.
So yeah, yeah,
That. Clear it. Don't just suppress it.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
not expected to know how to do that on your own, guys. I mean, there are resources for that, you know.
yeah,
So thank you for throwing that in there. It is true. The academic strategies that you present are golden, and the person's mind has to be ready to dive into that. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
tell me. I mean, we're coming out to the tail end, but I know that our viewers are going to want more of you. How can they like get more of you?
Yeah. So if you are intrigued by what I was talking about with the copy work, and especially if you struggle with writing, right, this really helps because we have like for the exam you have the subjective written half, and then you have the objective multiple choice portion, and they're different skills. But for the writing, if that's especially your weakness, then I think you would find a lot of benefit. So lots of people, Jennifer, just buy my I think it's $15 on Amazon or $5 on Kindle, buy the book. They learn in detail because I just kind of went over cursory, but they learn in detail what the Klein method is, and they just go run with it on their own. And I never know that they're doing it, and then they pass, and then I'll get like an email later. So that might be all you need. So I would start with the book. It's called am I allowed to say it?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
It's called Fuck the Bar, FCK the bar.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's a great place to start. Getting into the Facebook group, the Bar Exam Pass List Facebook group, will give them a free copy of the book. So when you go to join the group, there's a couple membership questions, and one of them gives you an option to put in your email address if you want me to send you the book for free, and I'll send you a free PDF copy. So that's even easier. And then the benefit is once you get into the group, a lot of times people will have questions after they've read the book. And so there's been a lot of questions posted, a lot of answers posted about the nuances of that method. And so there's past live videos I've done. There's a lot of other resources so they can get more information. But reading the book's the best way. If they want to take it to another level and they want to work with me in my program or to get a study plan created for them, that's when they would want to reach out and contact me. They can do that on my website. It's called FTB Bar Prep. FTB like fuck the bar, bar prep. And there's a button to apply.
Mhm.
And if they fill that out, then I'll get back to them about their interest.
That is cool. So they can join your group called,
The bar exam pass list.
okay, great. And so in the entry questions to join there.
Mhm. Yeah, if they want to give me their email, I'll send them a free copy of the book. They don't have to give the
Awesome.
email, but they can get it if they want it.
Awesome,
Mhm.
great. And then if they wanted to like get personally in touch with you,
Mhm.
they could just hop on your website and
Yeah, fill out the application on my website, and that's at ftbbarprep.com.
hey, thank you so much, Jessica. You know what? We are all so appreciative of you sharing your expertise and knowledge right here in the group tonight. And definitely, guys, if you're listening in, hop into that group, visit Jessica's website. There's so much gold there for you, especially if you're someone who has struggled with, fluff activities around the bar exam and, those dreaded essays. Thank you so much for being here, Jessica.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for being here. Bye. Bye for now.
Bye.